The word finally carries something specific when it is placed next to the avoidance initiation. It is not simply the finally of waiting, not the impatient, how long is this going to take, finally, of someone who is tired of being the only one who reaches. It is the finally of something genuinely rare occurring. The finally of a psychological event that the avoidance entire relational architecture was built to prevent from happening. The unambiguous, unprotected, I am the one, doing this reaching toward another person from the place where the investment is visible and the vulnerability is real and the management system's preferred outcome has been genuinely, not temporarily, overcome. The avoidance initiation is rare not because the avoidant does not feel the impulse. The impulse is present, examined across many pieces in this collection as the almost that happens every day, the unsent message, the reaching that the management intercepts at the threshold. The impulse is there. What is rare is the impulse overcoming the management's interception. What is rare is the avoidant reaching the initiation rather than being caught at the almost by a management system that has decades of practice at catching exactly this impulse at exactly this threshold. What overcomes the management's interception, what makes the initiation finally happen, is not a new strategy on your part. It is a specific configuration of interior conditions in the avoidant meeting a specific quality of exterior circumstance. The interior conditions are the avoidant's own, produced by whatever combination of accumulated loss weight, honest reckoning, comparative diminishment, and genuine internal work has brought the avoidant to the threshold where the management's cost-benefit calculation produces a different output than it has always previously produced. The exterior circumstance is the specific quality of your presence, or your absence, or your return to yourself, that tips the calculation from the management's preferred output to the initiation. The interior conditions first, because without the interior conditions being present, the exterior circumstance cannot tip the calculation regardless of how precisely it targets the specific input the monitoring system responds to. The exterior circumstance is the trigger. The interior conditions are what determines whether the trigger has something to fire. The interior condition that matters most is the accumulated loss weight reaching the level where it exceeds the management's containment capacity. This has been examined in the regret timeline piece, in the panic stages piece, in the piece on what the avoidant does every day during no contact. The loss weight accumulates across the stages, from the initial relief narrative, through the intrusions, through the comparative diminishment, through the reckoning. And the accumulation is, in cases of genuine significant attachment, a process that does not have a stable ceiling. The management can contain it at any given level, but the level keeps rising. And at some point, for the avoidant who has not done the internal work that would allow the loss to be genuinely processed rather than only managed, the management's containment capacity is reached. At this point, the interior conditions are present for the initiation. The management's cost-benefit calculation, the continuous assessment of the cost of initiating against the cost of not initiating, has shifted. The cost of not initiating has risen to the level where it exceeds the cost of initiating, not because the fear has diminished, because the loss weight has increased beyond the management's ability to hold below the level where the calculation flips. This is the interior condition. The specific management calculation altering weight of accumulated loss that the honest interior has been carrying across the entire no contact or distancing period. The exterior circumstance that tips the calculation is the specific quality of your presence or absence that makes the permanent loss possibility most real, most specific, most undeniably present in the monitoring system's assessment. Not the performed quality of someone who has arranged their life to communicate a particular message to the avoidant. The genuine quality, the real, constitutively non-strategic, monitoring system bypassing quality of someone who is actually living the thing rather than presenting the living of it. The monitoring system, as examined across these pieces, reads the genuine from the performed with the accuracy of someone whose developmental history required that specific perceptiveness to navigate. The performed quality, the strategic withdrawal, the arranged flourishing, the calculated indifference, produces the monitoring system's assessment of performance rather than the genuine article reading. And the performance assessment does not tip the calculation. The management can process a performance. It has no adequate protocol for the genuine article. The genuine article, the specific, constitutive, monitoring system certified quality of someone who is actually, fully, without remainder, in their own life, is what tips the calculation. Not because it makes the avoidant jealous or activates the pursuit instinct or deploys some other mechanism that produces the initiation through external pressure. Because the monitoring system's genuine article reading of someone who is fully in their own life produces the specific interior event that changes what the management is calculating against. The interior event that the genuine article reading produces is the most honest, most accurate, most undeniable assessment of the permanent loss possibility that the avoidance monitoring system is capable of producing. Not the theoretical possibility of permanent loss. That possibility has been present throughout the connection and has been accommodated within the management's narrative frameworks well enough to prevent it from tipping the calculation. The specific, concrete, this is what permanent loss actually looks like assessment of a person who is so genuinely, fully, constitutively in their own life that the permanent loss possibility has ceased to be theoretical. The genuine article person who is fully in their own life is not arranging their existence around the avoidant, is not monitoring the avoidance periphery for signs of the initiation, is not at the operational level of the daily interior holding a space where the avoidant might return. The life has been built genuinely and is being inhabited genuinely, and the inhabiting has the specific, unmistakable quality of completion rather than suspension. The monitoring system reads this completion, and the completion reading is the most powerful input the monitoring system can receive in the direction of tipping the cost-benefit calculation. Because the completion reading does not say, this person is withdrawing and will return when the calculation produces the right output. It says, this person is genuinely elsewhere. The window is not being held. The door is not being kept. The life is being lived, actually, fully, with the specific, genuine quality of someone who has completed their own process. And the completed process reading is the assessment that the management's narrative frameworks cannot accommodate within the comfortable versions of the story. The management can accommodate the story of someone who is hurt and withdrawn and will eventually re-engage when the hurt has been sufficiently addressed. It cannot accommodate the story of someone who is genuinely, completely without the space where the avoidant was in their own life. Because the second story does not have a natural resolution point that the management can identify and wait for. It has only the ongoing reality of someone who has moved. The moved to assessment is what tips the calculation, not the withdrawn assessment. The management can wait out the withdrawal, and it knows how to wait. It has been waiting out your various forms of withdrawal throughout the connection with the practiced patience of a system that has assessed this withdrawal as temporary. The move to assessment cannot be waited out. It has no endpoint the management can identify. It is not the other side of a temporary state. It is the genuine, stable, self-generating condition of someone who has genuinely, not temporarily, arrived somewhere else. And the management, facing the moved to assessment without an endpoint to wait for, faces the specific, calculation-altering reality that the permanent loss is not a future possibility to be managed against. It is a present reality that is becoming more established with each day that the management continues to intercept the initiation impulse. The calculation flips. Not dramatically, not in a single, decisive, management overwhelmed moment. In the specific, accumulative, one more day of the genuine article reading quality of a calculation that has been approaching the flip point across the entire period of the interior conditions building and the exterior circumstance establishing itself. The flip is the natural result of the accumulation rather than a sudden event, and the initiation that follows the flip has the specific, finally, quality that the word in the title carries, because it has been building across the entire accumulation and has finally reached the level where the management's interception fails. The initiation arrives. In whatever form the avoidance specific configuration and the specific moment produce, the message with the quality that distinguishes it from the ordinary incidental contact, the reaching that has the weight of genuine investment visible in it rather than concealed beneath the management's calibration. The showing up. The saying, however imperfectly, however shaped by the management's simultaneous operation, something true. The finally is real. The initiation is the management's calculation, having flipped from the preferred output to the genuine reaching. The fear is still present. The initiation is not the absence of the fear. It is the love and the loss weight and the genuine article reading having combined to produce, for the first time, a force larger than the fear. What you do with the initiation when it arrives is examined in other pieces. What this piece is about is the specific, honest, psychology-accurate account of what produces it. Not a strategy, not a technique, not the correctly applied external pressure on the avoidance-specific vulnerabilities, the genuine, constitutive, entirely self-directed quality of someone who has done the internal work of actually arriving in their own life, and whose arriving, read by the monitoring system with the accuracy it brings to the genuine article, produced in the avoidance interior, the specific, calculation flipping, management overcoming, finally large enough event of the permanent loss reality becoming undeniable. The initiation follows the genuine article reading. The genuine article reading follows the genuine arrival. The genuine arrival follows the genuine internal work. And the genuine internal work, done for yourself, not for the initiation it might produce, was always the only path to the only thing worth having at the end of it. Whether the initiation comes or does not come, the genuine arrival is the destination, and the destination, the actual, fully inhabited, completely yours life that the genuine work produces, was always, if you can reach the place where this lands completely, more than enough.